Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's 7:30 Central Time. We're doing a live Q&A tonight. We wanted a little bit change of pace this week. We were going to talk about, what is as technicians make us succeed. Basically different things that maybe this technician did early in his career, things he realized maybe he shouldn't have done. And basically that's what's the podcast is going to be tonight. This is just an extra. Our IDCM module episode is going to be coming out Sunday. I want to thank you guys. We this week, man, you guys really hit it. We went from 5,000 to 6,300 in 5 days, and I really can thank you guys even much more, man. Like I appreciate you guys giving us the support. Man, thanks to God. So tonight, what I want you guys to do, if you can, comment on anything here. If you guys do have any questions, if it's something a little bit more involved, I can connect you via, you can either call in, or I can put you on the podcast itself. If it's something a little bit more detailed, just text on the comment bar there, and I'll be able to see everything that comes up. I wanted to introduce the two guests that I have on here. We have Jeremy Smith from Phasio Mechanical, and we have Greg King from Cool Sis Refrigeration.
Hey guys.
So I want to start off. You guys know way too much about me. Jeremy, you want to start off? Tell us about yourself.
I guess. I'm Jeremy Smith. I'm 46 years old. I guess my path into the trade, I started into college right out of high school, and I was not mature enough for that particular adventure. And one day my dad sat me down and says, well, you can either join the military or you can try to apprentice with me. And I'd already determined the military didn't want me in 1994, 95. So I gave this trade a whirl. And I guess that's the story, because I'm still at the same job. I guess I don't clean so many condensers anymore, but that's where we all start, right?
I love cleaning condensers. That's like it's so mindless. I don't know.
I offered the one day, it was a summer day, it was hot and everything was going crazy, and the boss called me to pile another one on, and I actually offered him money to let me clean condensers for the day.
Just the nice cold water is gonna just soak up. I'm fine. I'll put the rain suit on. Who cares?
I'd have just run. No need a rain suit. Just get it done.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Greg.
For me, I went to college. I got a little generic business degree and came out of college looking for a job. And at that time, I was getting job offers for office management positions for about $12 an hour, $14 an hour. So my then girlfriend, now wife, was pregnant with our first kid. That just wasn't going to do it for me. 5 years of college and then coming out and getting a little $12 an hour office job wasn't going to work. So I spoke with my dad, who's in the trade, and he actually got me a job with the first company he got a job with straight out of when he went to Lincoln Tech. So it was kind of cool. So I went over there for $14 an hour anyways, but I ended up apprenticing there. Got thrown over to the plumbing department. I thought I was going to make a bunch of money doing two trades. I was wrong. I got stuck drain cleaning, sewer drains, and grease traps and everything else until I could get out of there and go somewhere else and try to apprentice again. So now I'm here.
So, like I said, tonight, we wanted to take a little bit different of a look at stuff and basically, talk about some of the things that has made you successful, in your career. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm in a hotel room and whenever the air conditioner runs, it sounds like a damn freight train, so I can't hear a damn thing. So, man, when I went to school for electronical engineering, and I kind of dug it, but it was boring. I was going to the same place every day. it was just it got real old real quick, and that's when I started going to school part-time for this stuff. And one of the guys that taught me just about everything I know, his name is Ed Mahota, real cool guy, and he taught me some really really important stuff that I passed along to other people. Always be looking at everything. Look around. It's not just using your eyes, it's listening, see what's going on. He also told me to keep it simple stupid, because doing the electronics background, all of a sudden it's like I'm looking for the most crazy thing that it has to be. And a lot of times it's staring you right in the face. You know what I mean? A lot of times if you take, what you're working on and bring it back to basics, it seems to help you out a lot. He also, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The keep it simple stupid was pounded into my head a lot. Now my dad taught me the trade, and I didn't have any real tech school background to start with.
Yeah.
But he taught me the trade, and it was, if it sounds like an expansion valve, it probably is an expansion valve. Don't look for the weird stuff. Don't look for, when you're a young apprentice, a lot of times you're just standing around listening to the old guys talk, and they all talk about the crazy weird problem they found, and you get all excited. You think you're going to find the crazy weird problem, and you're going to have a great war story to tell. And most of the time it's just a bad expansion valve. It's just low on gas. It's just a bad motor. It's nothing exciting.
First unit I ever worked on with Eddie, where he's just like, here, you held my tool bag, go ahead and try to figure this out. It was a large 5-burner carrier rooftop unit, and nothing was running. And I come back and I'm all excited. I'm like, I figured out what's wrong. He's like, what do you got? I'm like, I have 5 bad ignition modules. Yeah, that was the same look on his face. And he says, Brett, right now you need to make a conscious decision. Do you want to be a parts changer, or do you want to be a technician? And I must have looked like a puppy dog. I want to be a technician, boss, And he's like, go fucking figure out what's going on. So I roll over there, and lo and behold, it's a loose belt, caused the main limit to pop, which caused no voltage to any of the units to go bad. Like that kind of stuff. Like I'm looking, it has to be electronics. There's something, there's something messed up with that. No, it was something stupid simple. You know what I mean? Another important thing that he taught me, which is favored well, really for me anyway, is staying extremely humble. No one wants to talk to the guy that thinks that he knows everything and belittles you every single time that you don't get something right. You know what I mean? I told this story before, but I had a boss that told me I was a piece of shit and I was never going to amount to anything. And not to sound like a punk, but that crushed me. I'm like, well, this is what I chose to do for my career, and this guy's gonna basically just tell me that I should sell my tools to somebody and just pack my shit up. Like it hurt, man. So I mean, staying humble is worked very well for me. And the other two that I had to think about them for a while, but I don't think they matter until you get older. What he said. Don't trust a fart and never pass the bathroom. But like I said, he was in his 50s, so I mean, I think it had something to do with the age.
That could be. Yeah, the staying humble is important. Being the old guy around, the senior tech. Just last week I was calling my apprentice and asking him questions. Not just, he's done that particular job more than I have.
Yeah.
Hey, give me some feedback. Exactly what parts do you need to do that job the right way? Because I just haven't done it. Sure, I can figure it out, but it streamlines the process to call the guy with more experience and ask him.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he has only been in the trade 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's helped me out a lot. Is someone, I guess one of our old trainers, he told me a while back, or when I first started, he said a tech's only as good as his network. and to keep a good, strong network of other techs and, different strong suits where you can really lean on them. I mean, or you can spend time, on Google looking up PDFs or trying to read through everything, or, you maybe call somebody that has a little bit more experience on that, topic. So that has helped me out a lot. Along with, I finally stopped trying to do the windshield diagnostics. Uh, that one was really hard for me
I think I trumped up.
to stop.
You're fine. I got you back. Sorry, Greg.
Now the windshield diagnostics was really hard for me to stop. Trying to diagnose your call on your way to you're 50 miles away, and I'll show up on site and instantly start thinking I got a bad compressor because I've already gone through every scenario in my head of what could possibly be wrong. I finally, now when I come up to a job, if it's not a rack down or something dire, I usually walk in there probably with a cup of coffee, no tools, and just look, listen, smell, just see what's going on, see if and then I'll go get my tools. And it's really helped me from, kind of pumping the brakes a little bit instead of going just charging in head first.
Full steam, where you actually take a breather back and actually just
Yeah.
check out the situation. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's good, because a lot of times you end up missing stuff when you're going there, full steam ahead. Now, I've goofed
100%.
up already. I goofed up already where I came up to a motor room and I came in, a cup of coffee, Red Bull usually for me, and I walk up in and all of a sudden I see misting coming down the stairs. So then I hightailed it back out to the truck to get recovery. That, but no, I mean it's good to take a step back and just take everything in. I mean, and that's a lot of times that's why we get callback. Right? We rush everything through. It's in the summertime. It's turn and burn. You know what I mean? Which isn't obviously we don't want to do that, but it's the industry sometimes. Unfortunately, you're forced to do that.
It was always said that don't overrun your headlights.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That's good. No, and I don't know. I don't. I like even looking up past callbacks. You know what I mean? Like usually that's one of the biggest things that I usually take care of is callbacks and problem customers. And someone's like, well, I'll bring up the store history. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. That's one thing that's also helped me. Not really caring what other technicians have done. I mean, obviously, if this technician started here and this technician started here, obviously they both missed something at one point. You know what I mean? So I basically just skip that and just start from basics, start from the very beginning and work our way out. And that was one of the initial reasons why Kevin and I started this podcast, where basically we wanted everyone to to be able to diagnose and more easily. I mean, that's one of the big. I think one of the biggest things why guys end up leaving, when they just start the trade, because they're just frustrated. They're like, well, I don't know how to do anything. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, I almost I can tell from my side, when I was at the first company where I got stuck doing plumbing, I went to another company and I got fired on my day off, and it wasn't because of work ethic or anything. So I never really got. Every time I would try to get the ball rolling and try to learn and apprentice with somebody, something would always happen, and it was frustrating, and I would go on a call or anything I was doing, and I just hated not knowing. I would just be staring at just a train package unit and just being like, I don't know why this isn't. So I always felt like I never really had help or anything. And then luckily I kind of stumbled on at to Cool Sis, where I met certain people, Brett, you being one, Shane, Brian Schroeder, Derek Starnes, and the list goes on and on. But y'all really, took time. And so that's what it took for me, is just somebody actually taking the time to invest in me and just showing me a few things before I, kill myself. Also, I did have my dad, but my dad's he's a senior chiller tech. He's so far out of the refrigeration game, especially when it comes to supermarkets and stuff. He helped me just, for basic generic mechanical stuff. But when it came to EMS stuff, stuff like that, it really took guys willing to take time out of their day to show me. And when I saw someone investing in me, I ended up turning around and investing in myself, because before I came over to Coolsys, I was actually going to get out of the trade completely just because I was so frustrated with everything.
Yeah, and that's actually a great story, Greg. Knowing that it takes a senior guy to invest some time in you. Come here, let me show you this. Let me explain this to you. Let me show you how this works. And that's kind of the phase that my career is moving into now is, taking instead of, running service calls and, it's spending time with an apprentice and passing on the knowledge that I have and taking the time to, like you said, invest in um, the young people of our trade. That's why I try to make a presence on the social media and try to help people when they can. And I just, what Brett and Kevin are doing here it's fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100%.
to see this podcast take off the way it is.
Like I said, like initially we were doing it because we enjoy what we do, and it's just the reach, how big it's getting. It's everyone out there for listening, and I can't be more thankful. It lets us put out a better podcast. Look, we have cough buttons now, which I'm utterly stoked about. You know what I mean? The audio is getting exponentially get better now because of being able to invest back into it.
Right.
So do you guys have an apprenticeship program over there? Do you guys are you guys union over there?
Oh, me? Yes. We're a union. We're a union shop. I'd name a union, but we deal with half a dozen different unions because we're in so many different markets. So yeah, for the most part, we're a union shop. I think all of the refrigeration is a union outfit. So we do have an apprenticeship program, but like any apprenticeship program should be, it's very broad based. You're learning chillers and boilers and airflow systems and piping systems. So you don't get as deep into the weeds on refrigeration as you would need to be a good supermarket technician. You get just enough. You get just a taste. And I like to look at even taking on an apprentice or even a young journeyman. That's a time investment. You can't just grab somebody and say, okay, well, here's a rack room. That's the frozen over there. That's medium temp here. Have a ball. Go.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Our newest apprentice, our most recent apprentice, we hired him on about 2 years ago. We're driving to the first job, and he's talking a big game. He had his big boy pants on that day, and then we walked into the first compressor room, and his eyes were the size of pie plates. Because he'd played with a couple of big rooftop units, 10, 15 ton rooftop units.
Yeah.
And he thought he knew he was going to be just fine with racks. And we're walking through the compressor room, and I'm pointing at this and pointing at that, and I'm trying to explain this and explain that, and it's all just bouncing right off him because he's completely shell shocked at what he was looking at. And then I said, "Well, come on, let's go look at the condensers." He said, "Wait, what?" Because it didn't even dawn on him that like the condenser wouldn't be there where the compressors were.
We haven't even gotten there yet.
Exactly. But now we've taken some time and again invested time and training into him, and he's working his way through the apprenticeship program. He's turning into a fine young technician.
All right, now you young guys out there, that's why that humble thing really it goes real good, because if you say something like that, oh, I got this to an older guy, they're instantly going to be like, how rough can I make this guy's day today? And not intentionally, but hey, might give him something a little bit more difficult. You know what I mean? So that's why staying humble. If the kid would have just shut his mouth and would have said something like, wow, this is really interesting. Do you mind taking 5 minutes out to explain? You probably would have been a little bit more receptive.
No, I was fine with him. I wasn't trying to do anything. I mean, it was his first day on the job. I didn't expect him to know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was fun to watch that realization that he'd taken an awful big bite, and he was going to be chewing on it for quite a while.
Now, how long is the apprenticeship program for the union shops?
Our apprenticeship program is 5 years. Now,
Okay.
different unions do differently, and I'm pretty sure that the union up around Cleveland does a 10-year apprenticeship program.
Damn.
I don't know the details of it, but the way ours works is it's you're 5 years and you do 1 8-hour day a week in
Yeah.
school. Well, they used to do like you do two nights a week or something. But yeah, they've got you 1 8-hour day. Did I say once a week? It's every other week
Okay.
for the year, and then you reset. It's getting around the time where they jump a year here. It's towards maybe middle of May or something. They jump up to the next year.
Gotcha. No, I when I first started, like that was one of the decisions I was trying to figure out to make. Because when I lived in Pennsylvania, I had the opportunity to go in the Philly Union, which is the local 420. We I think they have a 5-year apprenticeship program, but I ended up going non-union and getting in with a non-union company for the first couple of years of doing this. You know.
Yeah, I this is just like I said earlier, it's where I landed. Um, it wasn't so much a conscious decision to be union for
Yeah.
me. It was more a matter of, I was a young dumb kid, and my dad got me this opportunity, and oh well, you want me to join this union? Okay, well here you go. Let me go fill out my paperwork, and I'll join the union, and you know, we'll see what that's all about. And it's done pretty well for me.
Greg, I muted you because I heard dogs in the background.
Sorry.
We're fine. What things did you do nowadays that you think maybe, Jeremy, that you do differently than how it was when you were younger?
Almost everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's a more like you guys were talking earlier about that slow measured approach. Instead of running in the store with your tools and attacking the problem, you walk in with a cup of coffee, or you walk in and you talk to the manager. Soft skills. We tend in the commercial space to think that soft skills aren't important. Being able to talk to a manager, being able to deal with a customer, especially an upset customer, those are very important. And so being able to walk in and talk to a manager, or maybe a manager you've never met before, not the manager that's been the manager of that store for 20 years,
Yeah.
manager, somebody you've never met before, being able to walk up to that person with confidence and talk to them, and don't overpromise. Don't, oh yeah, we'll get this fixed for you right away. Well, you may not be able to deliver on that particular promise. Well, we'll take care of your problem. Let me see what I can do for you. Go ahead.
Getting a relationship with your customers is extremely important, and you might not think that it's a really big deal, but we've had certain contracts are written certain ways that they don't have to pay under these circumstances, and sometimes depending on who you're if the customer or the facilities person likes you, and basically because he knows that you do a good job, he's more likely to be like, you know what, no, just pay the bill. You know what I mean? Don't less likely to basically argue over trivial stuff. And just it's a lot easier to deal with someone that isn't completely wants to rip your head off at that point in time, because and it feels comfortable when you walk in the door. I had a customer 2 days ago or 3 days ago where I walk in the door, he's like, Brett Wetzel, sailor, and I'm like, sailor? I was like, I wasn't in the military. He's like, no, you cursed a lot. And that's the way I remember it. But he was joking, he's laughing about it. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah. I have the customers that you walk in the door and anybody else has got to check in. They've got to go through all these steps. And when I walk in, I just wave at them across the store. Hey, I'm here. And I just go, oh, it's Jeremy. He's here. Okay. He'll just take care of the problem.
yeah. But that's one thing that they don't teach you in school. You know what I mean? Like, like you said, the soft skills, just being able to talk to a manager. I usually talk to a manager like I've known him my whole life. I mean, just it's just more. It's a better relationship. You know what I mean? They feel more easygoing. And they feel a lot more comfortable with you. You know what I mean?
Right. You have to be able to communicate well, but not. I always say that we technicians, we speak a different language than a manager does. They don't need to know about superheats and saturation temperatures and all of this stuff. A lot of times, all that manager wants to know is, I found the problem and I fixed it.
Yeah, I tend to ramble. I do that every once in a while where I start talking. I'm like, I lost him 4 sentences ago. Like he'll still listen to me. He's being respectful. He'll just keep listening. You know what I mean? Because he likes me. But he just like
right. You see the blank go down behind the eyes, and it just glazed over, and they're not paying attention anymore. They're listening to you because it's polite. And I learned to stop throwing that wall of jargon at the customer. And
POE's a scrubber.
Exactly. Well, POE is a hygroscopic oil, and we have moisture contamination problem. No, they don't care. They're too busy doing their thing.
Mm.
Found the problem. I'm taking care of it. I need to get this to take care of it. It's coming in. I've ordered it through my supplier. Great. If they have further questions, that's when you can get into the weeds, and some managers have different levels of understanding, and maybe they want to know more. Maybe they want to get into the weeds with you, and those are the managers that you can talk to that way. The other ones just care, is my ice cream going to be okay?
You want to bring up what you were talking about before we went live?
Oh, the things I wish I had done differently.
Absolutely.
Well, that right there is a big one. Getting into those soft skills, I didn't really start to develop those skills until way late in my career, probably over the last 6 or 7 years. I was always figured that, I'd just let my wrenches do the talking.
Yeah.
And that built me a pretty good reputation. I was the guy that could come fix it, but certain customers didn't want me around because I didn't communicate well.
Mm.
So there was some personnel issues. We had a guy who was a less than stellar mechanic, but a great communicator. He left the area, and I had to step in and fill those shoes. And that was it was a hard fight. It was an uphill fight, because the customer not only needed to see technical proficiency, but they needed that communication. They needed that buddy to tell them everything was going to be okay, and to joke with them and laugh with them. And I wasn't a laughing, joking kind of character.
Yeah.
It was just, I fixed it. I'm out of here. I'm in the middle so I can get paid and I can get on to the next job and move on. And I had to learn, like I said, those soft skills. Probably the other biggest thing that I would have done differently is kind of a twofold thing. Number one is take better care of my body. Here I am, I'll be 46 years old in a few weeks. And, I've had 2 back surgeries. I had one when I was a teenager. That's a long story, but I had one again about 5 years ago. And staying in better shape, keeping your muscles strong, and then using them correctly, not trying to lift that big compressor, get a machine, get help, do it right. Because this is the only body you get, and if you mess it up, you're going to hurt for the rest of your life.
No, I can relate. I ended up messing up my back up in Connecticut, shoveling snow, and that's why we moved to Texas. So I don't have to do that shit anymore. Except, and when it does snow here, it's gone by about noon the next day, so I'm okay with that. If it sticks around one day, I'm fine. Everything shuts down.
I was going to say your whole state shuts down when it snows, so
Tornado happens, hell, we'll be in the next day, but a little bit of snow, it just down.
nothing stops us up here.
Yeah.
We go through the snow, tornado warnings. We're out, and
I remember having to drive to a call like 4:00 in the morning in Greenwich, Connecticut, which was normally about an hour and 45 minutes from where I was at, but it took me about 4 hours to get there because there was 8 inches of snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I'm using the plow trucks as a blocker.
Yep.
One truck's moving the snow over here, one truck's moving the snow over here, one's moving over to the side of the road, and I'm just following behind, just driving on the salt that they're just laying down. And I tell people that are from Texas, they're like, nope, no thanks, done.
We used to run the up to Erie, and I don't know if you guys know what lake effect snow is.
Yes, I do.
So the wind comes down off the lake before the lake freezes, and this is for those who don't know what lake effect snow is. Picks up the moisture coming off the lake, and then it comes about 10 to 30 miles inland and dumps a huge pile of snow on the ground. So every winter, somebody would wind up in Erie. Now, Erie's about an hour and a half drive on a good day, depending on exactly which store or location you're going to. Everybody would get the 4.5 hour drive home from Erie because you're coming down the highway doing 35 miles an hour, just exactly like you said, Brett, in the line of traffic behind the plow truck, because it's the only way. Or, riding the rumble strips on the side of the highway because you cannot see any lines anywhere.
It's the only way to tell exactly where you're at.
Yeah, it's the only way to tell where you are on the highway is just to ride the rumble strip for 30 or 40 miles.
So back to things that you were taught when you were younger. Greg, you want to lead into that? What were you ever taught?
Yeah, one of the big things was whatever I was working on that day or what I got stuck on or whatever is what I read about that night. I luckily for me, I had Google, so I didn't have to have, binders full of PDFs. I could just look it up. But so anything I worked on that day, I read about that night, and I read and I read and I read, and I sought out the top texts in whatever branch you are. It's easy to find them. They're talked about like crazy. So I sought them out and.
He's paused. You get back?
Sounds like somebody's Wi-Fi is not working real well.
That's what I'm thinking. All right, got you back.
I don't know if it's mine or not.
No, it's you.
No, all right. Better?
Yep, better.
All right. All I was saying was just the PDF sought after the top text in my branch, and I asked for information. I helped them out, and they, sent it down as a trickle down effect. And I really read a lot. I still do, and that gave me a nice little base knowledge, something, little first layer in my brain. And if I ever saw it, I could be like, oh, I read that somewhere, and I'll find it again and read it again until it sticks.
The other thing to add on to that, recommending, reading a lot is great, but, finding something throughout the day, right? I mean, if you're interacting, there is something that you have not seen in the past. If you don't know what the hell it is, look it up, because one day at 2:30 in the morning, you're going to have to know what the hell that device did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Something I told my apprentices, I said, pick something on that rack and either try to figure out what it does by, following the lines. What does it do? What does it look like it does? Or, pull a manual and try to find that, or failing that, take a picture of it, send it to me. Hey, what is this?
Yeah.
Now, what does it do? because understanding, it's very important to understand what the machine does when it's working correctly. Because if you don't know what it's supposed to do, how can you figure out what it's not doing, when it does break at 4
Right.
o'clock?
Yeah, and that was a big one for me, was following the piping. Because it's kind of hard in a wreck. You'll just see some type of valve and like, what is that? It looks like it's by the accumulator, but it could be on a hot gas liner or something else. I mean, following the piping really helped me out a lot, and just knowing the nomenclature of things and just the refrigeration cycle really, and where is this in the cycle? It helped me out
Right.
a lot.
Right. And nomenclature can be difficult because, it's an EPR valve, it's a holdback valve, it's a back pressure regulator, it's a suction pressure. The same part has half a dozen different names, and I may call it by this name. Brett may use a different name, and you may use a third name. We're all talking about the same valve, but we're using different language to describe that valve. And that makes communicating about it more difficult.
Especially since there's about 3 names for every part.
Exactly.
Well, that's why like usually I break it down by either inlet pressure regulator, outlet pressure regulator, and differential, because then that way I don't care if it's a Parker, Sporland, Alco, Emerson, it doesn't matter. You know what function it's trying to achieve. That's it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you'll learn all the rest of the nomenclature later. You know what I mean?
Right. That comes with time, but you learn the function of the valve, the application. What is that valve trying to do? It's an inlet pressure regulator, so we're regulating that pressure. Why are we trying to regulate that pressure? EPR, we're trying to set a minimum in coil temperature. Liquid drain regulator or a condenser holdback valve, we're trying to flood that condenser to maintain a adequate head pressure. So understanding that's the next step. Why are we using that valve?
One of the other things you were talking about, looking stuff up, just be mindful. A lot of times less information is more. That was one thing that I struggled with. And unless like someone actually tells you, you really don't, you don't think of it. Like if you have a 05DM8-NRG, now you type in that whole model number in Google, Google's going to give you the finger and be like, screw off. I don't know what the hell you're looking for. So, you slim it down, basically you type in 05DM, leave out the footage of the case, leave off the NRG, and then I'll actually get the manual that I'm actually looking for. So that's another thing, trying to look up information. That makes it so much easier.
Right. And that comes with understanding how, Google works. That's more, that's less trade related, but more just information, how information moves on the internet.
Well, I mean, just to help people out there when we're telling, looking stuff up is helpful, but then when they go to look it up, like, shit, I can't find it. I can find my little people porn and my Facebook. But I can't find anything else.
Don't kink shame me, Brett.
But no, I mean, like, that's just some of the stuff that I was shown to help me be a better tech. And then, then a lot of times, like, no one asked these questions, you know what I mean? And that was part of the reason why I wanted to get on here tonight and basically go over some stuff. Guys are inherently, they don't ask the questions for fear that they're going to get ridiculed. That's the other thing. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. And I know sometimes that's a lot easier said than done, because guys are relentless, and I wish sometimes they weren't, you know what I mean? To, let people feel a little bit more comfortable so they don't feel like they're being berated if they're asking a question. My wife always starts off, this may sound like a stupid question, and I know the right answer. No, not a stupid question.
This is
just because I don't want to start an argument. No, but no, seriously. But like, I just, don't berate guys for that. And, it's just, it makes classes even go long. We went when I got back from an RDM training, and there wasn't a single person in there that did not ask a question. They basically, it was, no one was in fear of, guy's an idiot. Can we just shut up?
I always try when I'm in a class. I don't mind asking questions. I know I'm an idiot, so I'll just ask the damn question. I'll ask the question that everybody's thinking about, because I don't care.
Oh yeah, ask questions is huge. That for me, anyways. I just have a questioning mind. I'm always why. Well, why is that? My oldest daughter does that now too. Well, why is that? And I just have to know, and it bothers me. Brett knows. He's probably gotten a text or a phone call at 11 o'clock at night. Hey, I went down a rabbit hole, and I need some answers now, or I won't be able to sleep.
Greg's a big one for this. Mauricio is a real big one for this. Where they'll be looking up stuff, or no, I'll post something, like I'll talk about an issue that I had today on Supermarket Tech Talk, and I'll post that, and basically, I had found an answer to something, and not 20 minutes later, my phone's dinging. What are you reading? Can you send it over? Can you send it over?
Yeah, send me the document. I need it in my Dropbox.
You got that manual? But no, you're better for it, though. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, once the information's in your head, nobody can take it away from you.
Exactly.
See, I'm lazy. That's the only reason why I remember this stuff, so I can give it over to other people and have them, have them do it.
Have them do it, yeah.
Yeah, that's the next part. Now we teach the next generation, and they do the hard work while we sit back and drink coffee and watch.
Supervising.
Yes, supervising.
No, like I said, some of the other stuff that we talked about, just being humble's worked for me. Making sure that I did not ask questions. I do the same damn thing. I was in a class for screws, and I had worked industrial before I went to the screw class. And my boss walks by me. He's like, "Brett, shut up. Just stop asking so many damn questions." And then he walked out. And then the owner of the company walks up behind him, and then they talk. He comes back in. He's like, "Keep up with the questions. It's good. It's good. It looks good." And I'm like, "What do you want?" Because people inherently, they don't want to ask questions in fear that they're going to be ridiculed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. If I don't know it, I don't know it. Then guess what? I'm going to know it, and I'm going to be better by the time I leave. And that's the whole reason why you're going to that class, right? And is to make sure you actually learn the stuff.
Right. If you went to the training and all you got was a free lunch and, the cool pens and screwdrivers they hand out, then you basically wasted a day.
Wait a minute. I got a kick-ass thumb drive last class.
Yeah, that was cool. Mine was blank.
I'm working on it. Anything else you can think of sharing, guys? I thought you guys were going to be asking some questions. Giving some input. I've got nothing here. Got someone asking about Danfoss controllers. It looks like Ruben and Ulysses were fighting about something. Greg, they want you to go work at TDI. Someone texted Greg is hot, and I'm wondering if that's Mauricio. I'm not sure. And another important thing: never trust what another technician has said in their ticket. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. No.
Not that people lie, but you don't know if they were mistaken. You know what I mean? They could have. Someone had sent me. He was asking me. He was giving me pressures and temperatures, okay, that's one thing. Be prepared. Be prepared. If you're ever going to call someone for help, make sure you have all the information. Don't be like, I haven't put my gauges on yet. Because usually you get hung up on. You know what I mean?
But that results in a click.
Yeah.
It's not a click anymore, old timer. It's
unfortunately no, it's not a click anymore. There's something very unsatisfying about pushing an end button on the cell phone. I want to slam it down.
Yeah.
Back in the H Talk days, I don't know. I know Brett, you were on HVAC stock. I don't know if you are there, Greg. One of the users had a thing that he would say. He says, "You cannot have checked everything and still not found the problem." Because you hear guys say it all the time. I checked everything. I don't know what it is.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You
Right.
can't have checked everything.
I have this innate ability to walk up to rooftop units and find shorts. There'll be wires ripped out. They've ripped every single trace, and I'll walk up and just start activating all the ROs and just start shaking at certain pinch points. And all of a sudden, the unit will go down. I'm like, all right, it's there, and they get so angry, so angry.
Yeah. 4 weeks worth of work, and Brett walks up.
But it's like that one story where the guy get paid $100,000 for hitting a hammer on a motor to get it to run. It's knowing where to hit the hammer. It's knowing what wires to pull, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Knowing where, why did you pull those wires that way right there? Well, because they pinch right over there. That's the thing that the younger, inexperienced eye doesn't see.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, making sure that your guys are asking questions, making sure you have all the information. So back to that, a guy calls me up, had all the information, and is giving me all the information, and it didn't make sense. Like, there's sometimes where you're getting readings, and like, something is just wrong with his readings, or that system right now shouldn't even be running. And I had said either you have severe amounts of subcooling or your probes are backward. And I hear a bunch of rustling on the phone, and I hear, "Oh shit, I'll call you back." And then I never got a phone call from him because he fixed it. Another thing that I found that speaking with so many people all the time about this stuff and fixing stuff over the phone, I don't like to spoon feed. I can spoon feed a kid all day, and he's not going to learn how to feed himself. A lot of times, you're talking with them, and you ask him a question to make him think about about where he's going. Where he's going. The rabbit hole he's going down. But if you get him there before he is able to ask the question, a lot of times, after 2 or 3 questions, I'll get, shit. All right, never mind. I'll call you back, and then they just hang up. The conversation ends. I asked the question. They thought about it, and they're like, all right, all right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. And they just fucking hang up.
Exactly. And those are the best kind of phone calls, and those are the best lessons, because if you just give them the answer, then they didn't learn anything other than, I'm going to call this guy tomorrow and get the answer again.
Yeah.
And it is hard to learn, especially, like I said, we're busy. We're usually under pressure. We're under the gun. So it's hard to stop and make time. Okay. Did you check this? What about this? What about, and it's hard to take that time when you already know the answer, and you're 3 calls, 4 calls behind. You're not going to get home till well after dark, and it's easier just to yell in the phone, just change the power head and hang up the phone and go on to the next call. But that's not benefiting anyone. And I think I did that for too long. I think, that was a mistake that I made as a mentor. I think rather than asking those questions and giving that guidance, I would just give them the answer.
Well, it's summertime. It's like I said before, turn and burn. It's getting
exactly.
Get to the next one. I get it.
Exactly. It's easier that way so many times, and I was taking the easy way out.
Someone brought up a very valid point. Part of the problem, you guys aren't getting training that they need. I've worked with guys that have just gotten out of school, can't put a reclaimer on, don't know exactly where to put their gauges on, And, quite frankly, companies are not spending the time that it used to be to invest it, in the person. You know what I mean? Union's a little bit different, but like, a lot of the companies that aren't union. I mean, I used to work for them where a guy would ride around with, 3 or 4 guys for 6 months minimum. Now it's, trial by fire. You know what I mean? So, and that's what's causing a lot of work quality to go down as well. And that's another killer, of this industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I spent 18 months in the passenger seat of my dad's truck. That was my tech school.
Yeah,
And Greg, you mentioned you'd run into a problem and then read about it on the way home, or read about it when you got home. I had a little bit different experience. It was very similar to that because we tend to run the same route, the same stores, the same customers. We would get the service call. And my career literally started with Modern Refrigeration landing in my lap and my dad going, read it.
Yeah.
And I sat there in the passenger seat and I read that book from cover to cover. Of course, I
Yeah.
had, I could ask questions. Well, it says this. What does that mean? But then we would get to a point, okay, I'd gotten through the book and I kind of understood. And he would go, okay, get your book out and read about expansion valves. Understand the pressures at play in the valve and learn that. And then we would go to the job and we'd find a bad expansion valve. We talked about not diagnosing by the windshield, but when you work in the same stores day in and day out, week in, week out, year after year after year, the equipment. And
yeah.
just from the sounds of it, okay, yeah, that's probably going to be a bad expansion valve. You can kind of know that. And we would go and we would find that. And then I would get the valve to take home and take apart and see why it failed.
That's cool.
And that was just a fantastic way to cement those things in my head. And to training now, some of it, I wonder if some of these younger guys, and maybe I'm going to piss some people off here. Some of these younger guys, Greg, you're showing a fantastic drive to learn, to know. Some of these younger guys, at least the ones that I have dealt with, they don't seem to care. I've given them, I've got buckets and buckets of old valves. Here you go. Go take them apart. Go learn. I think they go straight to the scrapyard. They're not torn apart and taken as a learning experience, an understanding experience. They're just, nope, it's end of the day. I clock out and I don't want anything more to do with the job.
Right. I know with me, main thing, I wanted to make some money. And so I was really money motivated, but then I developed, kind of like a love for the industry and love for just refrigeration in general. I know when I got hired on to CoolSys, I had no business running any calls. I was a PM. I was a young PM tech, on HVAC, not even refrigeration. And I went into the service manager's office when we did the interview, and he asked me if I was a PM tech. I told him no, I'm a full blown service tech. So I lied to the service manager because I was ready to run some calls. And luckily after that, I don't recommend that because that could have went really bad for me. But I had my dad call, and like I said, I saw it out the top techs. And I'm sure I was annoying the shit out of Brett and people like that. Just hey, you got any of those documents? Or hey, you want to work together? Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do that. And I know Brett has 50 things on his list on Monday morning. So he ended up taking time out, and he really helped me out a lot.
Well, just having someone that actually has the drive is refreshing because, like, usually a lot of times what ends up happening is, I send out documents all the time, whether that person wants to actually read the document or not. That's the thing that sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
Lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that's damn right. I sent out hundreds of documents, to anyone that, that's in our wheelhouse and in our region. Now, it's like shitting on a screen door, right? Only a little bit's gonna stick, right? So like not
Right.
everyone's gonna read the shit, unfortunately. And you want them to succeed, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's really up to them. You know what I mean? This isn't one industry that you can skate by. But if you just want to do PMs, yeah, sure, fine. But if you want to be an actual service technician and fix things, no, I mean that's you have to have the drive for it, and you have to, want to be able to, it takes some investment on your end as well. Greg, you said that, you're reading constantly about stuff. You're investing in yourself.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So,
But it did. I know on my end, it maybe I'm sure people are different, but for me, it took me seeing that, hey, these guys are trying to help me. I'd be doing a disservice for them. So when I had certain people invest in me, it kind of lit a fire under me and made me want to invest in myself. Because I had just been burned, one too many times for my liking beforehand.
and unfortunately, that's what the industry needs. It's people that actually have the drive, and a lot of technical schools now they don't really. They teach HVAC and that's it. There is, there's a couple of refrigeration schools out there. I'm going to butcher this. It's the one up in Oklahoma. Greg, is that Okeechobee?
Oh, you got me. I have no clue.
There's a school up there that you actually get an associate's degree or a bachelor's of science of actual of refrigeration when you get out.
Oh, that might be OSU, maybe Oklahoma State does that.
Yeah, but there's another one that I can never pronounce ever.
Muskogee?
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
I don't know. It's some. I always butcher it horribly. But,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know there were refrigeration schools. I mean, you get kids out of trade school and they just know enough to be dangerous most of the time.
Well, even using tools. I mean, I was watching. We were working on a trainer doing a field evaluation, and he had to make some extended pieces. I was having him wire up a time clock, the fan delay, the termination switch and everything. And just something as simple as using the non-insulated part of the crimpers, you know what I mean, versus the insulated side. And he's like, I didn't even know that was the thing. I'm like, I mean, that's where a lot of the disconnect comes. I mean, the guys aren't being taught, the basic stuff. Even just like when you're putting in wires on the contactor, don't put the plastic in there. You know what I mean? Something as simple as that. And like, unfortunately, there's such a shortage in technicians where it's like, we need you to run calls, get the hell out, go in the truck. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it, falls by the wayside.
Get them out, get them in the truck, get them making money, get them running PMs. And there's this idea that if you throw them in a compressor room, they're going to learn it. And osmosis. Yeah. It doesn't unfortunately work that way. You need guidance, you need mentorship. And, we, the seasoned technicians do need to take, and we need to make that investment. But like Greg has mentioned, you need to invest in yourself as well. Please, because my back can't take much more.
I got you. Well, guys, like I just wanted to just touch on some of these subjects, and anything else to add, Greg?
No, I mean, pretty much that was my whole deal. Just reading what I didn't know and trying to stick with the top dogs.
Is there anything you would have done differently than what you've done? You've been doing this almost 5 years now, so you almost know stuff now. So
almost. Honestly, if I could go back, I wish I never went to college. I wish I would have went straight into the industry And I wish when I was running side jobs with my dad when I was 10, I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention. I might be a little bit further along.
And actually, I thought the same thing because, like, I had wasted time. Well, not wasted. Okay, so like I said, I got a degree in electronical engineering, and I'm like, well, I wasted time, but like, I mean, it still helped me out. Like, gave me a better understanding on PLCs and running cable and stuff. Like, it wasn't a total waste, but
Right.
in hindsight, I'm like, well, shit, we had a really good VOTEC program at the community college when I was. I could have been going to vote for free for 2 years until the time I turned 18. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, like, jump on it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and like, don't get me wrong, college was a blast for me. I had a great time, and it taught me critical thinking, maybe thinking a different way about not being so black and white with things, and then it also, I mean, it helped me learn how to retain more when I do read, because I promise you in high school when I was reading, I was not retaining anything. So it taught me critical thinking and, retention, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good one. And like Brett said, and even Greg, I kind of wish I'd spent more time maybe working with my dad when I was younger, because I came into this trade and I had no wrench experience. I was 19 years old and I had to stop every time I picked up a wrench and think, okay, I got to turn righty tighty. I this is stuff that most guys who are coming into the trade, they got that stuff out of the way before they made it to junior high.
Yeah.
Because they were turning wrenches, turning screwdrivers long before they were picking a career. I had a very different track in mind. That wasn't going to be where I was going to be. And here I am. Maybe if I could have rewound, maybe I would have done it differently. Maybe I would have skipped college. I say that as I've kind of encouraged both of my boys. My oldest son is halfway through a degree in computer systems architecture. He talks to me about data structures, and my head gets all kinds of spinny when he talks about how the stuff works, because it's so advanced. But he has a great respect for, because they've both done ride-alongs with either me or guys in the other guys in the trade, and they've learned.
No. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. I do. I wanted to get both your outlooks on what we were talking about. My path here, like doing this stuff, was totally off third base. Like it wasn't that, like, I worked on air compressors before I worked on this stuff. So like, I don't know. It just, I didn't go to VOTEC or anything like that. I got a weird roundabout way. So I wanted to hear what other people, have to get where they're at today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
It's good to meet you, Greg.
Good meeting you.